Imagine a 1,200-ton warship loaded with weapons, equipment, and dozens of crewmen. Now imagine it vanishing into thin air in broad daylight. Not hiding from radar, not sinking, ceasing to exist in our dimension. The year is 1943. The world is consumed by the deadliest war in human history. The United States Navy is desperate for an edge against German U-boats. They don't just need better weapons, they need invisibility. Bashit, welcome to the Lincoln Vault. Today we are opening the file on Project Rainbow, better known as the Philadelphia Experiment. In the naval shipyards of Philadelphia, the USS Eldridge is fitted with massive electromagnetic generators. The theory, allegedly based on Albert Einstein's unified field theory, was simple on paper. Bend light and radar waves around the ship, rendering it completely invisible. On July 22nd, the first test begins. The generators roar to life. A strange, eerie green fog begins to swallow the hull of the ship. And then, the impossible happens. The Eldridge doesn't just disappear from radar. It physically disappears from the water. Witnesses claim the water where the massive destroyer just sat was suddenly flat and empty. But that was only the beginning. Fast forward to October 28, 1943. The Navy decides to run a second full-scale test. This time, with a full crew on board. The switches are flipped. The green fog returns, thicker this time. A blinding blue flash violently erupts across the harbor. The USS Eldridge is gone. But it didn't just vanish. Over 200 miles away, at the naval base in Norfolk, Virginia, sailors look out into the harbor and see the Eldridge suddenly materialize out of nowhere. It sits there, an impossible phantom, for several minutes. Then, just as violently as it appeared, it vanishes again. Seconds later, it reappears in Philadelphia. The Navy had achieved the impossible. They successfully teleported a warship, but what they found on board was pure nightmare. The physical ship survived. The crew did not. When base personnel boarded the Eldridge, they were met with scenes that defy human comprehension. Men were severely burned, others were violently sick. Some had vanished completely, never to be seen again. But the most horrific discovery: some sailors were found permanently embedded into the metal structures of the ship. Arms and legs protruding from solid steel bulkheads. Human flesh fused perfectly with the deck. It was as if during the teleportation, the men had lost their physical form, and when the ship rematerialized, their bodies mixed with the very steel of the destroyer. Those who survived physically were destroyed mentally. Reports claim sailors who walked off that ship went completely insane. Some would spontaneously become invisible in the middle of a sentence, slipping in and out of our reality for the rest of their lives. A condition the crew referred to as the freeze. Of course, the United States Navy vehemently denies any of this ever happened. Official records state the Eldridge was never even in Philadelphia on that date. They claim Project Rainbow was just a harmless experiment in degaussing ships to avoid magnetic mines. Just a myth, just a ghost story told by sailors. But ask yourself, if it was just a myth, why were all the ship's logbooks missing? Why did the Office of Naval Intelligence confiscate a civilian book detailing the event, analyzing it in secret? And why, decades later, do deathbed confessions from alleged participants still match the exact same horrific details? The truth might be fused into the steel of a scrapped warship, lost to history. But the files remain open inside the Lincoln Vault. What do you believe? Did the Navy accidentally rip a hole in space-time, or is this the greatest hoax of World War II? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss what we declassify next. Stay curious, and trust nothing.